Barakchian, and thanks to all 7 of you who know what BRIC TV is and are watching now. Special shout out to Homeland Security because we all know you're definitely watching, and boy, are we impressed you managed to find the most obscure channel in the history of television. Anyway, the 5 of you tuning in are probably saying, what the hell is this show about? Well, it's about being brown. And I have a lot of experience being all kinds of brown because I look ethnically ambiguous. And for the folks at home who don't know what that is, Becky, it means there are a lot of different ways you can hate me. Conversely, it also means that my attractiveness level varies depending on where I am in the world. So let's say I'm back in Iran. Spoiler alert, I'm Iranian, and no, you are not in danger. There, I'm like an 8. That means young women's parents line up around the block to ask for my hand in marriage. But in Greece, I'm like a 4. And that means I have literally 0 reasons to ever go to Greece. And I used to look definitively Middle Eastern, but then I plucked my unibrow to create 2 separate and distinct eyebrows. And that ½ an inch was the difference between looking like Osama bin Laden or Pablo Escobar. And I think if I had the choice, I'd rather be the guy who made a mansion out of his prison cell than the guy caught living in a hole. Yeah, I'd rather be Latino, because being Latino is pretty cool. Yeah, and there's really nothing cool about being Middle Eastern. Latinos, they have tacos and tequila. They have salsa, merengue, bachata. They even have the most interesting man in the world. Take a look at other minorities. Black people got Beyonce. No woos for Beyonce. Asians have Tokyo Drift. Lots of woos for Tokyo Drift. What do Middle Eastern people have? And I swear to God, if you say shawarma, I will totally agree with you because it's very delicious. I just want people to think it's cool to be Middle Eastern. My dream, the day when a bunch of white kids in Central PA get together and be like, yo, Habibi, let's get some falafel. Yo, it's hard out here for a Shah. Until that point, honestly, it's kind of scary to be Middle Eastern. It's a dangerous time for us. One of my biggest fears is to pull up to a red light, look to my left, see a Ford F-150, South Carolina plates, and Confederate flag shellacked across the back window. Because I know what's not in that car. Puppies. Immigrant rights. No, in that car is David Duke's abusive Uncle Earl, which you know has to be worse. And his best friend Bill, who's still making up for 9/11. And they're gonna look at me, and they'll be like, well, I don't know what the hell that is. I wanna hate him, but I don't know how to hate him. So they'll pull out the manual, and I imagine this comes standard on every pickup truck sold in the States. Know Your Hate, a comprehensive guide to discrimination. Forward by Paula Deen, obviously. They'll start flipping through and be like, well, you know, he's got 2 separate and distinct eyebrows, but he's too tall to be Mexican. And he's got the afro, but he's too short to be one of the blacks. Finally, they'll look to me and say, hey! And I'll have no choice but to turn to them and say, scusi! And then Earl will look at Bill and say, knew he was a Mexican. You guys, we have a great show for you tonight. And for the 4 of you watching from home, stick around because we'll be right back after a quick message from our sponsors.
Are your kids over 20 and still unmarried with no prospects? Are you worried they might live with you forever, never give you grandkids, or worse, marry a white person? Don't let yourself be the talk of the village. With Muslim Swipe, you too can find suitable mates for your kids right at your fingertips.
Thanks to Muslim Swipe, Fatima and I have been married for 4 days and have known each other for 2.
My parents listed my age, degree, and a list of Persian meals I know how to cook. They don't know I use Seamless.
My parents lied about my salary, and then they swiped right on Fatima's parents.
We have a lot in common.
So much in common.
Both our dads are named Mohammed. All of our parents lived under the same dictatorship in Iran.
In Iran. Yeah, and Fatima is fertile and has a degree in biomedical engineering. Wow, really?
Yeah, but my mom says I'll never use it, so.
Unlike all of the other apps, Tinder, Grindr, OkCupid, OkStupid, Bumble, Jumble, Fumble, we are the only halal mating app for parents and their kids.
Our parents are planning for us to have 4 kids, so we have no choice but to accept.
And I'm quitting my dream of comedy so I can work with Fatima's father at his taxi medallion and used jewelry stand in the Queen Center Mall.
Business is actually going very well.
It's not possible.
For a certain crowd, yeah.
Oh my God, no.
Mehdi, who are all of these people?
This is my wife, Fatima.
Your wife, Fatima. That's really interesting because I'm his fiance. What is going on?
My parents downloaded Muslim Swipe.
Muslim swipe. Make the right choice, not the white choice.
Get out. Get out. That's a cut. That's a cut on this. Get out of here. Get out of here.
You know what we have in common?
What?
I was asking.
Are you like an early bird or a night owl?
I'm like a night owl.
Oh, okay, I wake up every morning at 5. Naturally, my body wakes up, so.
We also both really enjoy
I love watching movies.
and TV shows.
Yes, I love TV.
We both like to have kids.
Maybe.
There's so much.
We kind of look related. I'm sorry I said that.
Welcome back, folks. We're gonna keep it rolling with a segment we call
White Court. This is White Court, where white people will be tried, I know it's hard to believe, for behavior that is either a minor misunderstanding or flat out xenophobic. Was it racist? Mehdi and the jury, audience, will decide. This is White Court. Let's meet our first defendant, George C.
George C. was walking down the street when he noticed a Thier walking past him. The defendant moved slightly towards the other side of the street. We believe the defendant was acting racist.
Will the defendant make their case?
I thought I was just being safe.
Your assumption of impending danger is a presumption of aggression based on one's skin color. That sounds pretty racist to me. Audience, we find him guilty. Guilty! Your punishment, high-fiving every brown person you see walking down the street. But be careful, because some people are actually dangerous. Next!
Our next defendant is Marissa S.
Marissa S. struggled with pronouncing Middle Eastern names, though she claims to be an ally.
Amethyst, K. Atun, Malachi, Roxana, Sam?
That sounds racist.
And what does the defendant have to say for herself?
Well, wouldn't it be more racist if I overcompensated and pronounced everything like Amethyst, Katayun, Malachi, Roxana?
Yeah, okay, no, you're right.
Sam.
You're right. You're right. Audience? Not guilty. Not guilty! But here's a book to read, because you gotta stay educated or whatever. Next!
Our next defendant is Sue.
Your Honor, I would like to enter into evidence Exhibit A. This is a transcript of dialogue that the defendant had with a Latina coworker.
Thank you for the Exhibit A evidence. Let's see. Welcome to my team. You are a part of this family. That doesn't sound so bad.
No, that's right. I was just being welcoming.
All right, well, let's see if the glove fits. Could you please go ahead and just read that off?
Welcome to my team. You are part of this family.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty racist when you talk to someone like they're an idiot. Verdict? Guilty! Your punishment? Watching Seinfeld in Spanish without subtitles.
That's a thing?
Repetía, ¿por qué, George? ¿Por qué? ¿Quién es mamá? Está ahí. ¿Glamour?
No.
And our last defendant said the N-word to a black coworker, and I just...
Wow, you know what? I don't think we even have to hear this one out. Let's poll the audience. What do we think? Guilty! Guilty!
You're just gonna convict a man without a proper trial?
Okay, I didn't know you were... This is white court. This is court, and that's my bad. right? Do you know what I'm saying? And I did not know.
This is White Court.
All right, this feels like a good time to maybe shift gears. What do you guys think? Let's try something a little lighter. Here at Passport Control, we get a lot of letters, and every show, I like to take a moment to read a letter from one of our young fans. This one is from 9-year-old Dylan. It's a really sweet segment. Dear Mehdi, my name is Dylan, but everyone calls me Pickles because I love pickles. I think you're very funny. I think everyone on your show is funny. I bet they treat you all like celebrities in New York. I like you so much, and you always look so happy. Someday, I hope I can visit New York. I love going to the airport. It's so much fun. Not for everyone. How old are you? How big is your apartment? Are big cities scary? Well, depends on who you are, Pickles. I don't know why people don't like brown people. You seem nice. Can we be friends? I'd love to come to your studio. Seems like such a warm and friendly place. My picture is here. Oh, let's take a look at Pickles. Oh, he's so cute. What a cute kid. What a sweetheart. Maybe someday I can help on the show. I think we could all help each other out. You're a forever fan, Pickles. Thank you, Pickles, so much. I love segments like that one. Really reminds you of like how much beauty there is in the world, you know? I'd like to move right along. Let's introduce Passport Control's first ever special guest. If you know anything about the comedy scene in New York City, you know him. He's one of the nicest and most talented performers you'll ever meet. You've probably seen his work on Amazing Spider-Man 2, How to Be Single, Broad City, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Damn, man, save some work for the rest of us. He's also one of the hosts of the wildly popular podcast, Black Men Can't Jump. Please welcome to our studio, Jonathan Braylock. How you doing, man? Good. You missed some fun stuff. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you get so many gigs and I don't?
Huh. Interesting.
I just read off a list of credits. It took like 45 seconds.
Listen, I see you on commercials all the time.
Oh, stop it. Don't name them because we don't have sponsors yet.
Literally, those are all my gigs. So.
Great, that's fair enough. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. What is your ethnic background?
So I am black and white.
Wow, so that's a very specific experience that you have.
Yeah,
is it not?
Yeah. No, it is. It's like one. I don't know if I can say this word, but mulatto. That's the word that people.
And that's a bad word.
You know, I didn't know that when I was a kid, so it sounded cool to me. I was like, mulatto. Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'll take it. It sounds like a nice, like, hot Starbucks beverage or something.
Yeah, like a grande. I don't even want to say it. I'm uncomfortable. John?
I mean, it's definitely not in vogue, but it's also, it's not, I rarely heard it, you know what I mean, growing up. So by the time that I did hear it, I was like, I'm supposed to be offended? That's okay.
What do you usually get? Like, what do people usually assume you are?
I mean, it depends where I am, to be honest. So, like, usually in, like, white neighborhoods, people think I'm black. But if I'm in, like, an Hispanic neighborhood, then people think I'm, you know, Spanish or Dominican or something. I remember I used to work at this restaurant, and for the first week, everyone there thought that I was fresh off the boat.
Did you not speak at all?
Yeah, I was like kind of shy, so I wasn't like speaking a lot, and they were like, "Oh, he like literally doesn't know English." And so people would only speak to me in Spanish, and then I would silently smile and nod.
Just playing along.
Which just continued the
which hasn't helped at all.
Yeah, like I always felt. I guess like that's the thing. The tragic mulatto is a literary figure, and the idea is that they don't know where they belong because, you know, you're not fully accepted in the black community, and you're also definitely not accepted in the white community.
Yeah.
So identity is like a weird thing, and that's why it actually is like definitely a through line in my comedy. And
Well, what's the perception that African Americans have about who you are because you are mixed race?
Well, it's a weird thing, right? Because the history of it is people who are light-skinned. I mean, you know, it depends. I mean, a number of ways that could have happened, but like probably because the slave got raped and then they had child, and then that child was like the master's like illegitimate, you know, offspring.
Yeah.
So the other slaves don't like you because you're getting like a little bit of, you know, whatever, just, I don't know, you get to
like
be in the house.
Better treatment
yeah.
of some kind,
yeah,
that you can even compare that?
Yeah, exactly. But also, white people hate you because you're still black, you know?
But how does that translate to today? Like, how does that translate to like here and now in terms of how you're treated in an African American community as opposed to in a white community?
You know, every now and then I'll get like, maybe like a joking comment. I mean, we are in a very liberal area, but like, oh, well, I mean, you're light-skinned, so you don't really understand what we're going through, you know.
Because what? Because someone who's darker skin is gonna be treated differently across the board, regardless if it's part of the African community or outside.
And yeah, absolutely, and that is true. Like, so it's like it's a real thing, but it's also one of those things that it makes this divide that is only there because of whiteness. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't exist if whiteness wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like and that's why I brought up the slave kind of history of it, because it's a real thing. It's like that person got better treatment, so it makes sense that there was resentment. But at the same time, it's like that person also they couldn't control their own fate.
It almost disenfranchises your negatively impactful experience, like the bad things you've gone through. It almost takes away from the fact that you experience those things because they're like, well, you know, you're not like a real black guy.
Right, right. And I would get that. Like, I grew up in a white suburb in Jersey.
Where in Jersey?
Rutherford.
Rutherford.
Yeah.
How is that different from East Rutherford? Can you explain?
We're better. No, I don't know.
Are they next to each other? I don't even know.
They are. They're right next to each other.
Okay. So
and everyone
like by
knows
Route 3, 495.
Yeah, Meadowlands. So when I was growing up in the suburb, like people would always say, because I was one of the only black kids. I was the only black kid in my class. You know, and then high school there were like a couple more, but people would always say like, "Oh, John, you're not black." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't like rap music. So like I would be called an Oreo, and it's like, well, yeah, I grew up in a town that all you guys listen to is ska. So well, what did you want me to like?
Sounds like a bit of an identity crisis for someone who is biracial.
Yeah.
Like understanding like who you are. I can't imagine that's fun as a teenager to figure out like where you land in your social circles and how you're perceived.
Yeah, it's weird too because you don't really, you know, when you're growing up, normal is whatever you're living.
Yeah.
You know, so it's only through more experiences as you go older, and then like more education, and then realizing, oh wow, like other people were feeling this way. You know, when I went to NYU, and
shout out NYU.
You
Send
know,
us free NYU stuff.
Yeah. The most popular NYU merchandise is they have a T-shirt that says NYU football because there is no football team.
That's so funny.
It's so NYU.
It's very NYU. That's fair, yeah.
It's just like, we're ironic.
Yeah.
But like when I got there, it was the first time I really had black friends. And so I was like, oh man, and there was this whole like immersion, and I did an Africana Studies major, or minor I should say, and I was like immersed into black culture in a way that I wasn't able to do when I was younger.
Talk to me about entertainment. You do a lot of acting, you do a lot of performing. What's it like for a person of color in the entertainment world today?
You know, things are, I don't know. I mean, things are getting better.
Good
for
and
sure.
bad. Good
yeah,
and bad,
it's good
right?
and bad. Absolutely.
But is it getting better?
I think it
right?
is. I mean, you know, it's weird. It's kind of like diversity is hot right now. Which
so hot.
Yeah, it's so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People love it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's the first thing someone says, like, I just shot this like TV show. Really diverse.
Really diverse.
You love it.
Yeah, it like scores you a lot of points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But the goal would be just for diversity to just exist and then it not be a thing. You know. So the podcast,
yeah, not to have to point to it, not to have to say it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows I watch where it's like, look at how diverse we were, and I'm like, calm down.
Yeah.
You don't need to say it.
It's weird because
just do it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird because we already we already went through that phase in America. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows the token, you know, person of color that was in all of your TV shows. Like, all right, and there's the Black Ranger, you know, and there's our Yellow Ranger.
Also the one Black improviser on each team, one Black sketch person,
right.
one Black guy in the movie.
And it's like, cool, we did the tokenism, so now people realize, okay, we need to get not just Black, you know, or other, you know, ethnicities on screen, but we need to get them behind the camera, we need to get them in, you know, studio executive positions and all of that stuff. So things are getting better, but like, we can't let up. You know what I mean? Because once we do, then it'll just... Got
to keep the foot on the gas.
Yeah, you got it.
Last question for you. In a sentence, what do we need to fix the world?
Oh, that's easy.
Take your time.
No, what do we need to fix the world?
What's a little dose of medicine? What's something we can prescribe?
You know, I'm going to be cliche and say love is the answer. We need to care about other people the way that we care about ourselves. And other people extends to more than just, you know, different races and ethnicities and religions. It also extends to people like you who don't like you. You know what I mean?
People.
It extends to all people. For me, you know, I am Christian. I grew up Christian, and the love your enemies as yourself is something that Jesus said, and I really try to ascribe to that because violence, for me, is like very clearly not the answer, right? Like, it just begets more violence. We get into this whole cycle. It's like, all right, who started what first? And this idea of like, that's the thing that's going to fix things doesn't make any sense. So I've noticed in my own life when there are people who hate you or like are racist to you or sexist to you, homophobic, all those things, obviously defending yourself is something you need to do, protecting your, you know, body and your livelihood, but also showing love and compassion to people who don't have it. Like, it really, I think it really like kind of shocks them into like, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Well, there's the answer, guys.
There's
Love
the answer.
is the answer. Thank you, Mr. Bray. I appreciate it. Please check out his wildly popular podcast on iTunes, Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood. Also, check out his sketch team, Astronomy Club, has a short-form series on Comedy Central's digital platforms this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Bray. We'll be right back after this important message. Thanks so much.
Are you Arab, Muslim, or just a very hairy Italian? Have you been harassed at airports because of the way you look? In this tutorial, we will give you a step-by-step guide on how to avoid these common pitfalls of airport security. Step 1. Make sure you trim your beard right before you leave for the airport. Step 2. Remove all liquids over 4 ounces from your carry-on. Step 3. Dress the part. Step 4. Take an unsuspecting book to read while casually waiting in the security line. Step 5. Travel with a privileged white girl. Step 6. Go to the courthouse, change your name. And finally, step 7. Cut off all ties to your brown friends and family. Congratulations! Now you're an American.
Welcome back, guys. Before we go, I want to talk about something I really identify with. Mexicans. Because Mexicans and Iranians have legit been on blast for no good reason since an orange toilet seat became our commander-in-chief. I'm talking about the wall that we're going to end up paying for. I'm talking about the ban we're still fighting. Point is, I definitely feel a sense of solidarity with my Mexican brothers and sisters. Look, we all know what he's said about Mexicans, but Becky, if you're there, here's a recap. He's publishing a list of crimes made by immigrants. He's saying they're taking advantage of the system. He says he's going to kick them out. But all this talk about all these Mexicans begs the question, when's the last time you heard a white man refer to Mexicans and actually mean people from Mexico? Because usually, when I hear someone say Mexican, all they really mean is, oh, you're from somewhere, probably Mexico, I don't know, I don't care, cut my grass, but don't take my job. Oh my God, I love Chipotle. This plan to keep Mexicans out is an attack on all of us because, shocker, we've all been mistaken for Mexican. Hell, none of our female writers can wear hoop earrings without having an identity crisis. Even our one Spanish writer, not Mexican. Doesn't matter. You know, if you check the driver's licenses of any of our male writers, you'd think to yourself, pretty Mexican. It gets to this question, that's Sabi. Gets to this question, what are you? Because that's the question Trump wants to ask at airports, Arizona sheriffs want to ask citizens, and what your best friend's uncle is dying to ask you at parties. What are you? The thing is, they don't care about the answer. They'd rather hear you just say Mexican and think, now, what the hell are you doing here? Well, I'm here enjoying this barbecue and dating your lovely white niece. But this question, what are you, is really difficult. What are you? What are we? Personally, I will say to you with all seriousness, I am brown. Look, that might be how a cartoon bear would answer that question, but I'm serious. So what is brownness? Brownness is constantly being asked where you're from, but no one ever really caring what that answer is. Brownness is being the only black kid in your school for years, then meeting your first teacher of color, but when you ask her what she is, apologetically, she says, Indian, and you say, close enough! And then it's a few more years before you get your next teacher of any kind of color, and though she tells you that she just has curly hair, you secretly hope that her mother was lying to her father. What is brownness? It's when a kid in Queens tells another kid he's Indian, and the other kid says, yo, I'm from Trinidad, brother, and a deep cultural bond is formed that can never be broken. Brownness is being told you're not really culturally from this country. Then you go back to your parents' country and realize nobody thinks you're culturally from there either. And your cultural references are from whenever your parents were kids. So it's like walking into a party and going, how about that Hall and Oates? That's hip now, right? To which one of your cousins will say, what, where are you from? And that's the question you'll get on either side of the ocean. Where you're from or where you're told to go back to. Because you're brown, like a cartoon bear. You could say, I'm Filipino or Guyanese or Libyan or Mexican. But you're both those countries and this one. You are a walking identity crisis every day, at least to them. Because we felt fine until you asked. So what are we? What am I? I'm someone who's part of an infinite universe of different cultures and peoples and cheap plane tickets to the US and calling cards and Skype accounts and that weird lunch you brought from home that you can't share with your white friends because to them rice is spicy. Rice is not spicy. Rice is a complex carbohydrate and water. It's also white, the one thing you're really okay with. So what are we? Frankly, we're a third of this country and growing daily. And to America's white, soon-to-be minority, you only have two choices. You can laugh with us, or you can fear us. Thanks so much for tuning in to Passport Control, guys. We hope that all two of you watching enjoyed the show. Until next time, just try. Special shout out to Homeland Security because we all know you're definitely watching, and boy, are we impressed you managed to find the most obscure.
Oh, that's right, Mehdi. We're watching your jihadist ass. This special little comedy brown boy show. And I'm gonna be all over you, big guy. Okay? You've met your match. You've met your match. Okay, it's match.com, except it's me and you, toe to toe. You're gonna lose.